Alright, welcome back to Game 10 of Lucid's 2022 tournament, where we are playing Phlegra. It is turn 64, and we are invoking a little bit of Theoden this turn. Riding out when it is perhaps not too wise. Let's just jump right in, see if there's an Atlantean Doom stack. No, not really. Okay, so a spoiling attack it looks like. Definitely patrolling. Looks like a Soul Slay, Wind of Death, Doom. Okay, Doom is probably going to be it, I think, because I don't actually see anybody here that's capable of doing Wind of Death. So just trying to curse our whole army and waste our gems before... Ooh, Earthquake Trap. Very nice. Okay. So yeah, this one is not going to work out great for us because, I mean, we will win, and I actually don't think our losses are going to be too bad because it looks like we were able to get Fog Warriors off before the Earthquakes hit. And let's turn on Team Colored Squares. I think we didn't eat a Murdering Winter. I don't know. I've been worried about Murdering... Really, I don't understand. I don't understand why. Maybe he just figures that we've given everybody cold resistance rings and it's not worth it. I mean, we can't give our troops cold resistance rings. Maybe he feels that it's better that we have like these low morale troops here so we can just HP out our tyrants. Yeah, I don't know. We can't replace all these earth gems, unfortunately. We can replace a lot of them, but we will have fewer battlefield summons for the next fight. But for the rest of the gems, like, we have a good amount of reloads. We have other scouts standing by. This isn't that far from our labs, so from a gem burn standpoint, like, I mean, it hurts. We burned a lot of gems. And the other reason is, like, Wailing Winds is a really good spell, but you end up not getting that many kills. Yeah, we only killed 2 of the Forgiving Fathers. We did kill 25 Ice Guard. That's significant, but, Atlantis does have a ton of these guys running around. They also get to see our full script. We lose nothing, though, so, that's in the good news department, particularly considering I was expecting to lose this entire army. Of course, that could still be on the table. I don't think Atlantis has given up their hope of holding Raga. But yeah, I've done a really poor job of predicting what people are going to be doing. So we finished Research in Enchantment 8. Next on to Evocation 8. We've discussed both of those. Let's see. We managed to get a Throne claim up there. This is the one that we've been fighting over with Atlantis. Throne of Fortune, not that relevant for us. I believe we get some Astral Pearls from it, which is always nice. Bumping us up from like Misfortune 3 to Misfortune 2. I don't know. It is an improvement. A lot of people are really like, no, you can't do Misfortune 3. That has not been my experience so far. I mean, there are definitely plenty of other people that swear by Misfortune 3. I'm not sure I would go that far. I guess it depends on how much you like barbarians. So I certainly don't mind being Misfortune 3, but, like I've often said, Misfortune 2, because you get so many Misfortune events that increase your Misfortune in places, you end up with a lot of Misfortune 3 anyway. So, I don't know. It is good, but it's not that big a deal. We are still trying to warm up Raga, so we're probably going to be battling back and forth with Atlantis about that. Bringing in more Pale Riders. Was a little bit concerned because, if they do sail and attack this province, we're planning on just using Firestorm and Heat from Hell, more or less, as our defense. And, Pale Riders, they don't like those things. But otherwise, they're going to be very resistant to Murdering Winter, which apparently doesn't matter. And they can cross this river. And they're decent chaff anyway, they get the Lance Charge and all that good stuff. We discover an Astral Mage trying to snipe our tyrants. And we rendered them insane, or actually feeble-minded, so very happy about that. We don't have full coverage. Like I said, our underwater squad there was actually uncovered, or has been uncovered. And then let's see, we get raided in a location. This looks like our own province, although not a place that we were prepared for, clearly. Not actually sure where this is. This is probably not going to work out for us. Yeah, a little bit of Frozen Heart. And, these Atlanteans that aren't Ice Guard aren't great, but, they have these poison barbs, which, humans don't like, and are, pretty decent. Honestly, I expected our province defense to do a little bit better than that. I'm not even sure we killed one. That wasn't particularly great province defense. Yeah, we killed one. Yeah, it's kind of crappy province defense for late age, but yeah, we definitely need to come up with a cost-effective answer for these groups because we can't afford to keep losing provinces like this to them. This is a place where we have an answer. I don't know if I'd call it a cost-effective answer. Let's see if we manage to get our Strength of Giants. It can be a little hard to buff the barbarians. PD in general obviously is undisciplined. It just rushes forward. Yeah, so, Strength of Giants has a decent amount of range. Also, hopefully our Air Elemental is going to hit a little early, so maybe should move that back in the script 1. But we do have a second one coming out, right? Yeah, so we spend 4 air gems to do that. Not to mention, of course, the mage turns. I mean, we do wipe out a raiding group. We hold on to a province. That's good. That's good stuff. Hopefully going to find a cheaper way to achieve results like that. Like I said, it's probably our crossbowmen, So it looks like this is where at least one of the Atlantean Doom stacks went. Like I said, I've just really been... Okay, this is our province. Yeah. Not sure where this is, though. But yeah, this is kind of what I was expecting to fight us on Raga. Not really sure... Not sure what Atlantis is waiting for. Maybe even more troops. Maybe just wanted to see like what we had before they commit. But I mean, they have a ton of stuff, right? 409 units. If we compare, I think, what are we? Yeah, we're more than half of it, but closer to half than I would prefer. We do have a ton of magic support. Not even so much in terms of raw numbers of mages, though we do have a good number of mages. But also just in terms of like big spells that we're able to put onto that army. So Again, we're not really relying on our troops as much as those battlefield summons, and then our super combatants plus Wailing Winds. Of course, we're going to be getting hit with Wailing Winds as well. Okay, interesting. This is looking like a Soul Slay. Ooh, this guy's on... I hope he's not just on... He's on cast spells. That's rough. A little bit of Doom. So, yeah, Doom and Retreat. Nice. I like it. And just cursing our Tyrant. Like, you got to respect it. I don't disagree with it, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, you just getting cursed in Dominions is very, very common. So you can't worry about it too much. Ooh, this is more than I was expecting, actually. We did move in one of our Tyrants, but he does not have a Ring of Regeneration because he just came out of the water. So, there's a Living Water cast. We'll see. We have a decent number of, decent amount of province defense. And we do have some mages that are going to be spamming lightning bolts, which will help. And then, of course, our Tyrant, he's going through his buff cycle. Hopefully he's on advance and cast spells. But yeah, not having the Ring of Regeneration, like, is a really big deal. So, like I said, I didn't think... We do have the Soul Vortex. We have some bodyguards here. Yeah, there goes some of our mages. Looks like we're going to lose probably at least one mage. So far, this is going better than expected. Like I said, I did actually forget about Soul Vortex. So even though we don't have a Ring Regeneration, like we do have regeneration here. So it looking like this is probably going to work out for us. They have at least one or two commanders that are just back here doing Skelly spam. That is actually like more dangerous because we cannot drain life from them, or fatigue for that matter. So it looks like we are on advance and cast spells, but like I said, it's pretty unlikely that we're going to be able to cut our way. We're not really set up to deal with Skelly spam. Would have been good if we had Fire Shield up. That would have been really helpful. But I don't know. With Battle Round 50, like how much HP? We got 105 HP left. This is our hero as well. And then once he falls asleep, he's going to be taking probably critical hits, like more critical hits. So he's going to be more likely to take damage. I think this is going to be a close one. We're not going to win. It's just we might turn timer it, maybe. So anyway, we're going to skip to the end. So fingers crossed on that one. All right, that one does work out for us. Skin of our teeth. I mean, we do lose a sorceress. That's pretty significant. 165 gold. They're not cheap. They're also slow to recruit. We don't have that many of them, so that kind of hurts. But we do hold on to the province. We do kill, 12 Sacreds and 17 Ice Guard. Money-wise, that probably works out for us. Yeah, let's see. Mostly successful retreats, it looks like. So yeah, on the balance, I mean, particularly because we didn't lose our Tyrant, I'm definitely going to put that in the win column. But a little on the dicey side, and we really are going to have to think... I mean, not that we haven't thought about Skelly spam at all. A lot of our Tyrants have included Fire Shield on their scripts. We run into pretty much no resistance here. Although, I don't know, this doesn't really look like... This looks like maybe some regular units that moved out, so maybe not expecting to bump into the Tyrants. These guys do have their Rings of Regeneration, so not a lot of concern here. You should be able to wipe this out pretty easily. On the other hand, right, Atlantis doesn't risk too much, doesn't lose too much. Definitely a better turn for us in terms of the rating. Kind of dropped the ball on the previous turn. Here we go. Here's some unexpected events in Raga. Well, wait, one of these is ours. Yeah, Scorching Desert, so that's us trying to heat it up. And then here's Atlantis, trying to cool it down. Now, the good news is I believe we are in high summer. We're definitely in summer, so we're getting helped out there. And, of course, we got the first cast off, so, since we're just canceling each other out, it's more or less going to stay neutral. Maybe heat one if we're lucky. This does, of course, cut into potential spoils. right? Like, we're nuking land that we're hoping to take, and then Atlantis is nuking it in response. I haven't really talked about like the population loss from this, because like losing 1,000 population is definitely significant, but for a capital, it's not the end of the world. But repeated casts, like if it's losing 2,000 every turn, which is pretty much where it's going to be at for as long as this siege is going to take, that's going to add up really, really quickly. So I didn't really, there's a lot of things to juggle. I didn't think about the fact that a long siege on Raga would necessitate that we basically completely wipe out the population of Raga, which does somewhat undercut right, what we're trying to do. We would like money from that. So yeah, just add it to the stack of our many problems. I do think it's worth it. We're not going to stop because we also get no money from it, right? Like if we don't take it. I don't understand why, like, okay, Atlantis this is where we were. Why no Murdering Winter? Like, we're not even here. And actually, that's not, we have some reinforcements here, but like, most of them are Yetis. So, anyway, good luck with that. I don't know. Very confused about that aspect of it. And then we have a Rebirth event in a location. That's fine. And then Barbarians, of course. I was just talking about them. And then we have an unexpected event. Yeah, Harsh Law against Vagrancy. Sure. Not really sure what Vagrancy looks like underwater. We patrol out a scout in a location. This looks like one of our fortifications. Then we started destroying the fort in Raga. Walls lightly damaged. That is not what we wanted to see. We're just talking about how a long siege in Raga is not going to be great. We do have the fire gem income to handle it, right? We can keep the temperature here more or less indefinitely. Obviously, once it starts to go to winter, then the natural temperature is going to be working against us. So, we would like to finish it in like 3 or 4 turns. That is not looking likely. We are bringing significant amounts of siege strength in next turn, but probably not significant enough to really change the balance. This probably will go into winter, assuming we don't get knocked off first. This also probably means that one of those armies that was near Raga, probably the one that we couldn't see to the north, has moved into the fortification. Because I think if it was an empty fort, which is what it looked like, we would have gotten more damage on this. So it looks like Atlantis is trying to split. I was kind of thinking that they wouldn't because the army that we saw. Okay, interesting. So maybe I misguessed about which army it was, because the other army that I was thinking might sail but had too many crossbowmen. Not a lot of crossbowmen in this army. So anyway, I'll stop guessing. We'll probably want to do a little bit of scrawling on Raga, although there's no rush on that, because it's going to be a little while before we get in, but definitely something has moved into there. And then our underwater siege severely damaged, so we're getting there. This we should be able to take, although it'll be interesting to see what Atlantis has moved out, because they may try to knock us off. And then we do get a new famous hero. Our hero is now officially a hero, and Heroic Endurance is actually a really good legendary trait for him, so happy about that, and I will catch you guys after the jump. Alright, this is the situation and what we're doing about it. The immediate situation is actually better than I thought it was, though I think long term we're still in pretty deep trouble. It does look like Atlantis has put at least one, maybe both of their armies into Raga. We're going to be using Astral Window to try to see exactly what's in there. And we're going to hang out and continue this siege. We're probably going to keep getting hit with gem burning attacks, earthquake attempts, things like that. We can actually more or less keep up our gem expenditure, but only just barely, right? Like we can't really do a lot else with our gems if we're going to be getting the gems burned every turn. This is obviously far from ideal, especially considering that the siege is going to go quite slowly. So, if Atlantis is able to keep it up every turn, there is definitely a cost for them. If they commit a certain number of mages. And while, I haven't actually made any changes this turn, I think, next turn we'll probably move our cavalry to the front of our formation and then just tell them to attack rear immediately, which will help, cut down, or at least increase the cost of these gem burning attacks, possibly even canceling some, though it's not very fast cavalry, so probably not. Again, we could withdraw, but, sort of like to what end? So, we're going to hang out on top. We're bringing our reinforcements here. That'll, help. It'll help our army strength a bit. And it'll also help our siege strength by a significant margin, right? There's quite a few Yetis here. In the good news department, since Atlantis' armies, as far as we can tell in this area, are trapped inside this fortification, we actually have a lot more room to do some raiding. Now, we don't know like what's in this underwater fort, and last we checked, there was quite a bit of stuff here on top of this throne fortification. But, a lot of this stuff is going to be somewhat tied down, dealing with, Ulm's relatively large stack that, last we saw was in this fortification. So we should actually be able to make good progress in terms of taking provinces around Raga. Now that will change if we lose the major engagement, but, hey, if we lose the major engagement, the war is probably done. Not that I think we wouldn't have a chance to rebuild and try to fight back against Atlantis if we lose this engagement, but I'm pretty sure, right, we haven't had a non-aggression pact cancellation from Utgard yet, and I think they're just waiting for, a major loss on our end. They're unengaged, and it's not like they don't have a lot of available forces. I don't think this is a separate army. I'm guessing that that's, what took this fortification. It looks pretty similar. We didn't actually see it, at least jumping on top of this fort. We saw it patrol something out. So they're probably moving in like a defensive force here, I'm guessing, while moving out the majority. There's actually a decent chance, I think, that this isn't going to come against us. I'm really not sure. I feel like if Utgard manages to take both of our thrones, if they manage to take all three of our thrones, I believe that's all they need. No, it looks like they will need to take a throne from Marignan. So, this is a pretty impressive force. And they may be planning on, trying to grab this throne from Marignan at the same time. On the other hand, considering that they need more thrones than I thought they did, right, they probably don't want to involve themselves in a 2v1 where they're having to fight us and Marignan, even though obviously both Marignan and myself are busy with other wars at the same time. Like I said, they do seem very, very cautious, not unwisely, but also at the same time, right, once you start to close in on a victory, it can be advantageous to try to do as much of that as possible in one fell swoop. So anyway, I do think, a lot of this stuff is in our future still. But we are actually pulling off like most of the defenses that we've been building up on top of the throne fortifications. This is partially to support, further raiding against Atlantis while we have the opportunity, but also like it's not 100% guaranteed that this army is coming against us, but it, feels like this is probably not just designed, to raid. Now, maybe they're only concerned about catching our tyrants, but I don't think you need to bring this much chaff to kill the tyrants. So I'm thinking this army is coming at us, although where exactly is not yet clear. Obviously, they could go for this fortification, they could go for this throne fortification, or they could march just directly at our capital, right? It's not that far away. I'm sure they want to shut off the source of the Titans or tyrants. And we don't have a whole lot. We have some stuff, right? We have this army over here, which we've talked about. We have a bit of stuff built up on top of the throne. Unfortunately, it is divided. So right now we are retreating in both directions back towards our capital so we can try to link everything up. And then, if it heads to this fortification, we may have to give it up, although I do plan on fighting a battle here. Particularly since like the heat scales are pretty advantageous, right? In fact, most of this area is going to be pretty advantageous in terms of the heat scales for us to fight a battle, which will be nice. But we definitely don't want to lose the capital. The tyrants, for all their sins, are probably the most effective thing that we have available. So we're also pulling out, speaking of tyrants, we're going to bring one of the tyrants back from the throne fortification. Throne province. We're not building a fortification yet. We do not have any money. Someday, hopefully, we'll build a fortification here. Not that we would be able to recruit anything from it. This isn't a particularly valuable province, so I figured it's a good enough place. We need something. Atlantis can attack us at any point across this river. And you got to stick those tyrants somewhere. So anyway, we're going to pull one of the tyrants back. We are forging some underwater gear to hopefully get, our astral cover as well as our tyrant, along with all the long dead horse, who I'm not sure water breathing will actually let you cross a river. It really probably should. But it's possible that we won't be able to cross that river that way. But worst case scenario, we hop into this little lake here, and then we move on top of the fortification. Though that does mean that we're going to go ahead and leave behind a good chunk of troops here, because otherwise, there's these Atlantean infantries building up, and that's part of the reason we want to jump on top of this fortification, because Atlantis is just continuing to recruit more troops. But there's enough units here that, I don't have a ton of faith in our province defense. It's actually decent province defense, but still, so we're going to leave this in place so we don't lose this throne. And then we'll use the undead, our remaining tyrant, to try to jump on top of this fortification, hopefully eventually crack it and take it. The other tyrant will come back and support, and then, like I said, we're pulling out a lot of mages and a lot of troops in both of these locations, headed back towards the capital, trying to do a bit more recruitment. We'll see where they go. They could go left or right. They may not be going for the capital. Another possibility, right? They could also jump underwater to relieve this siege. So we're actually going to bail. There's no way that this guy, especially without his ring of regeneration, is going to be able to stop something like this. So, we're just going to leave behind one undead just in case, though he'll probably get dissolved due to a ping. We're going to pull this guy out, and then we're going to pull this guy back because he doesn't have his ring of regeneration. We really do want to get that onto him. Otherwise, raiding this would be pretty nice. We're going to use these guys to continue to raid deeper into enemy territory. There is some danger that the second army, right, there used to be 2 armies of Atlantis in this area, roughly. And, one of them definitely went into Raga, but did both of them go into Raga? That I don't know. And so it's possible that it's right here, and we're about to walk into it, which I just realized talking through this turn. So we'll see, right? This is, one of our more better equipped tyrant squads, but definitely a lone tyrant has not been able to solo one of Atlantis's armies, and these guys really aren't any different. Magic resistance only 21, which they should be able to raise via their script. Yeah, Iron Will, first thing that they're going to be doing. I forget exactly how much that is offhand. I think it'll bring us to 24. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. If they don't run into that army, then they should be able to raid and hopefully link up actually down here to the south. Our other raids, pretty basic. Let's see, we have some gem reloads. This guy's going to make an air elemental. We're also going to make some of our magic being summons. This is enough to take out, a decent amount of province defense. We'll see how much Atlantis dumps into this. And then we're also going to bring up, kind of some reinforcements. Though we'll probably just use this squad to continue to raid. So a little bit of Strength of Giants, Flaming Arrows on our crossbowmen. We didn't give him any gem reloads. And we also have a Soul Slave fellow here, just in case we run into anybody particularly nasty. So we're only going to have the Flaming Arrows for the first raid, and then from there, we'll kind of see, maybe combine with these mages who will be, out of gems, but be able to provide, a little bit of magical firepower, maybe hit this province. So yeah, continue to try to raid, sit on Raga, and, hopefully win this battle. And of course, this leaves us pretty uncovered in terms of Utgard attacking. Like I said, I do think as soon as the major battle occurs, probably even if we win it and take a lot of losses, that is when they'll, end their non-aggression pact. I'm honestly kind of surprised that they, haven't ended it already. Possibly they're thinking that Marignan is really who they need to focus on right now. Because, if Marignan manages to win this battle or this war with Mictlan, they're going to be substantially larger, and there's not really going to be as much of a counterbalance. Ulm, is still another possible counterbalance to Marignan. I know that they are, fairly worried about Marignan, which they should be. Really, the only reason that we're not worried about Marignan is that we don't border them, and, again, they have a massive border with their large power that's not friendly to us. So it's not that I don't think that Marignan could win. I think they're definitely one of the contenders. But their path to victory does not lead through us, at least not yet. So yeah, possibly Utgard is thinking hey, we can handle this situation whenever we need to. While Marignan's busy, maybe this is the time to jump in against Marignan. Anyway, all speculation. I think that's more or less what we're up to. We are getting another tyrant. Yeah, it's going to be a little while. This is a non-money turn. We also don't really have any gear for him, and if we keep getting gem burned, we are going to struggle to actually kit this guy out. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I think that more or less covers turn 64.